Greetings, members of the Midnyte Society. Get cozy as we venture into the shadows and explore the creepiest corners of Reddit. If the dark, creepy, and disturbing side of the internet is your thing, you are in the right place. So make sure to subscribe to the Midnyte Society and ring the bell to stay updated. Now, let the spooky stories begin.
Did we stumble upon a ritual? This story takes place a good 15+ years ago, so while I do like to go into as much detail as possible, I couldn't tell you the day, month, or year. All I remember is that it was after school and it was still daylight, so it would have been later afternoon. Back in my hometown, a friend and I went on a walk along a public footpath which goes by some warehouses and through a forest which we knew pretty well because we had been camping there once or twice when we were in Cubs. We hung out and played around at our old campsite and continued on with our exploration of the area. We wanted to explore some part of the forest we had never been to before, so we naturally diverted from the footpath. About a mile from the footpath, we came to a barbed wire fence with a field on the other side. Knowing that we could not cross into the field, we decided to follow the fence to see where it ended. Honestly, we were probably near another town or village by that point, and we had no idea where we were. That was when we came to a small clearing. There was nothing unusual about it at first, as it looked just like any other clearing until we saw the bones. Scattered at the base of a tree was the skull of an animal with smaller bones surrounding it. This wasn't some small bird skull either, but about the size of a sheep's skull. Now, that is kind of creepy and not something you would ever want to stumble upon, but not unexplainable. It could have been the result of a predator. Until I turn around. There, between a tree in the shape of a V, was a hooded figure looking in our direction, not unlike a ring wraith from the Lord of the Rings. I didn't even stop for a heartbeat. I called my friend, briefly pointed at the figure, and we legged it. We didn't stop running until we were back near the warehouses and near civilization. I still think about this creepy encounter to this day. It is something that will never be forgotten. My occult date and the woman who warned me. I was reminded of this encounter when the person whom I went on a date with reached out to me recently. Seeing his name come up on my Tinder messages sent a chill down my spine, and I shook my head before unmatching him, which I thought I had already done. It was about 5 years ago. I was living in the heart of my city, and I was always going out. Through mutual friends, a guy had caught my eye. For the sake of the story, we will call him Derek. Derek was tall, covered in tattoos, and had a booming laugh that immediately drew me to him. I'm a bit shy when it comes to the dating world, so I wasn't outspoken about my new crush. When I saw his picture come across my Tinder, however, I knew I had to give it a shot. Turns out we matched, and we quickly set up a date. I had heard Tinder horror stories. Stalkers, creeps, and even worse. So I settled on a busy bar in the downtown area. I met him there. I told my friends who I was going out for drinks with. I tried to do all the right steps. I didn't notice anything weird about the date until about halfway in. We had been talking about interests, and I said I liked paranormal documentaries and shows. A slow grin slides across his face as he gets close to me and utters, "I can speak to the dead." I roll my eyes and let out a half-laugh, half-nervous sigh. He continues to spew information about all of his communications. I sit there silently, not really sure what to say. He shows me videos. Candles lit, books and pages strewn across the floor, and him in the middle of it all, making kind of guttural noises. He gets close to me again. "I can help you talk to your mom. My mother is no longer with us, and was not at the time of this date." Anger, rage, confusion, and fear all surged through my body. I had not told him about my mom. You could find that out on social media, but you'd have to do some digging. I get a horrible nauseated feeling in my stomach. Is it the drinks I've had, or is it my body telling me to get up and run? Feeling my fight or flight starting to kick in, I repeatedly try to change the subject of conversation, but he always brings back up him trying to contact my mother. This part still sends chills up my spine. A young woman walks by my date and us on an outdoor patio of the bar, her on the sidewalk. Her and I make eye contact, and she immediately begins to cry. She tells me she needs to speak with me. With a dead-eyed glare, she tells my date to make himself scarce. He sulks inside to the bar. She ushers me over to the side of the patio, and checks to make sure Derek isn't coming. I am not crazy, I promise. I am not a psychic or medium, but I have a message for you. Stay away from him. Go home. She is grabbing my hands and looks me in the eye as I see tears well up in hers. Who does she say sends the message? My mother. This woman said that seeing me felt like getting struck by lightning. My date returns and looks at her skeptically. The woman insists I take her phone number and to listen to what she said. What was that about? Derek asks me. I relayed the message she had said, in a bit of a joking manner. His eyes glaze over in hate as he says in a monotone, we just had an encounter with a witch. She's lying, I spoke to your mom before our date and she says she's happy you and I met. At this point I was at my breaking point. My mother is a sensitive subject and my red flags were up. I quickly excused myself from the date without major issue. I retell this story to my friends, who know Derek. And one of them, strangely knew the woman as well. Derek and this woman do not know each other. I explained my encounter with the woman, and my friend stated that she had a good head on her shoulders, and was an honest person, not one to be dramatic or over-exaggerate. Which makes her message even weirder. I did not call or text Derek after. He'd repeatedly hit me up, and I was told by loved ones to just ignore him. One night, I get a text message from him. He was blocked on my phone after this. It was a selfie, him grinning ear to ear, with blood streaks all over his face in linear designs. I asked a question I wish I had not, but my fingers had already sent the text. That isn't your blood, is it? I asked. You are correct. Derek replied, an encounter with Lemon Guy. I just needed to tell this story. I don't know if it's scary or unexplainable or creepy, but it was pretty darn horrifying to me. So, as younger children, my brother and I had this babysitter. Let's call her Anne. She was perfectly normal and we played with her younger brother a lot. Her older brother was obviously normal, but that's for another time. One day, we were walking home from Anne's apartment, and it was getting a little late. I remember walking near a wall with an overhanging lemon tree, and this dude's voice suddenly says my name, so I turn around, my name being extremely rare, and I see this man standing on the porch of a house behind me, in his mid-40s, kinda balding, Mexican, and wearing a flannel shirt under a large bomber jacket. That's all I can remember of him at the moment, sorry. So he called my name again, and my brother were already on the next block. I just stared at the dude. He said my name for a third time, grabbed a lemon from his porch, which was probably from the tree, and crushed it in his hand, while still staring at me. I freaked and ran. He was still calling my name. Let it be known that I have never seen this dude in my life, my brother nor my babysitter, nor either of our families, have ever mentioned, nor met up with or knew this guy. I caught up with and my brother, but I didn't tell them because I had, and still have, issues with bringing up information, thanks to a traumatic incident that occurred. I'm sweating bullets, but everything is normal enough and I can relax a little. Then we get to my house. There is a single lemon on the porch of the house, and nobody in the neighborhood has lemons or lemon trees anywhere. There's no note saying if anyone left it or anything. Just one goddamn lemon. I'm proverbially shitting my pants as and my brother just go inside, ignoring the lemon on the porch. My brother says that he needs help with his homework, and tells him that she'll help. Then we all hear a voice say, yeah, my brother's name, can you help me with my homework too? It's the same guy. Lemon Guy. And my brother immediately go inside, and I'm so scared, I'm frozen. Lemon Guy apparently followed me to my house and was standing in the street, waiting for me to turn around. I did, picked up the lemon, and hurled it at him. He grabbed the lemon in one hand, not flinching or moving at all, and crushed it. He didn't even blink when some of the juice got in his eye. Then I went inside, locked all the doors and windows and watched from the blackout blinds my mom installed as and my brother were just ignoring the whole thing out of fear or something. Lemon Guy stood there for a good half an hour before walking away. I never saw him again, but I'd have vivid nightmares of myself hiding under my table, watching 3 of my older brothers being torn apart by Lemon Guy, whose head was replaced by a big, rotting lemon. The only other part of the nightmare I remember to this day was him finding me and saying something like, 14 or something. I still have that nightmare, even after we've since moved to a new neighborhood.
Thank you for joining us on this spine-tingling journey into the depths of Reddit. If you've enjoyed these terrifying tales, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next time, members of the Midnyte Society, stay curious, stay brave, and may the mysteries of the night unfold in your favor.